Hey guys, Craig Ferreira here from the Creative Frequency. So first things first, I would love to just send you a huge and a warm, heartfelt congratulations and well done for signing up to the unique G.A.S Genius System online video series. It's more than likely you've received this online video series for signing up to our free 3-hour talk, Ignite Your Genius. So in the free online video series, we're going to be looking into 3 things. It's going to be a 3-part video series. The first is we're going to look into the acronym of G.A.S, which the first letter is G, which is your genius. The second being the A for your awareness. And lastly, probably one of the most important is going to be the S for structure. Because, you know, the structures in your life will literally dictate the results that you have in your life. So what does that mean? That means that you could have, and you probably do, the best possible tactics, tools, techniques that you can possibly do, but if you don't have a supporting structure in your life, no matter what you do, you're always going to get mediocre or terrible results. And if you have a great structure in your life, it doesn't matter what you do. You can do everything wrong, and you can still create amazing genius results. So in today's video, the first video of the online series, we're going to be looking into your unique genius. So the first thing we're going to look into is the definition of genius. And the definition of a genius is to create, to produce, to bring into being. And not only that, it's the guiding spirit from within. So having that said, I want to look into now another definition of another word, which is education. The true definition of education is to draw out, is to bring out. And our educational system has failed in supporting us in doing this, because the educational system and the model that we currently operate in is all about force feeding you information and you taking that information and doing something with that information. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, because I'm sure you can agree, I can pummel you and fill you up with as much information as possible. And more often than not, you're going to leave more confused and with more answers and more powerless than you were before you even started. So what generally happens is we get lots of information, we take a little bit and we move on with that. Because you see, that isn't true education. True education is drawing it out of you. So you see, my genius, your genius is the guiding spirit. It's the spirit within. And education is about drawing that genius out. And this is what our trainings are about. So I'm sure that you more than likely are like a lot of people that I know. And a lot of people that I've trained, and even how I used to be. You know, knowing that you feel like you've got this potential, knowing that you feel like you are this diamond, that you've got this something, that there's more burning and yearning within you and you're seeking to express it to the world. But external circumstances keep knocking us back and keep taking us off track. Or we go do educational self-development courses and we land up walking out of there even more powerless than when we walked in. So what it comes down to is, what is driving you? Are you being driven by your unique genius? Is that your guiding spirit? Or are you like the majority of people, like I was, where you're using everything externally to drive you? A lot of people, education, self-development, we've all been force-fed this idea that the answers lay outside of us. That the answers to our success, to our true potential, to our business, to getting that new career, to whatever it is that we're looking for, lies in a tactic, in a tool, in a premise, in something that's outside of us. And we need to learn that thing. And when we learn that thing, then we can start creating that success that we truly yearn for. But once again, that's outside of us. It's not being driven within. Now, when we're looking into genius, what else can we say about your genius? What else is your genius? You see, your genius isn't necessarily your IQ level. It's got nothing to do with your IQ level in actual fact. Where a lot of people think it has. If you were an Albert Einstein or Nikola Tesla, or anybody in a technological or scientific realm, then you can be a genius. But that's plain and simply not true. You see, your genius could exist in any field whatsoever. It could be in sports, like a Lionel Messi or a Cristiano Ronaldo. It could even be in technology, like an Elon Musk. It could be in leadership, like Nelson Mandela. It could be in marketing. It could even be in being a socialite, like Oprah Winfrey. You see, there is no level, there is no range in where your genius could exist. Your genius could be in any realm, in any space. But the problem is, we're so busy following everybody else that we forget to look at what we truly want. So, what I really want to start doing in this online training, I want to change your mindset. I want to change your language. I want to change your perception. You see, because your perception is what's going to create your reality. So how I want to go about this is I want to make you the hero of your own story. I want to get you out of that world that I used to be in and thinking that my answers, that my success, that the resolutions all laid outside of me. And it was almost like this endless hunt to find it. Until I started operating from my genius. Until I started operating as the own hero of my own story. You see, I want to make you the hero of your story, of your success, of your life. So the way that I'm going to do that is I want to change your perception. And the beauty is, when you start operating from your genius, it's almost like magic. You see, the reason I say it's like magic, because have you ever experienced something when you set out to create something, and in going to create that thing, what more often than not happens is that you get there and you look back and you wonder, how did all these events come together? How did I just meet the right person at the right place? How did this all work so perfectly just for me? It's almost as if it was magic. So let's look into another definition here. What is magic? Magic is defying your belief system. Now tell me, what happens if your circumstances didn't matter or didn't define you, and you could start creating the life that you wanted and on your terms? You could start creating your genius right now, right here, in spite of your current reality, in spite of your circumstances, in spite of what you thought that you needed in place before you could have what you wanted. What if you could get that end result that you were looking for as if by magic? As if it was effortless. Now tell me, wouldn't that be something worth attaining? Something worth mastering? Your genius? So that you could start creating results in your life effortlessly, in spite of your current circumstances. Now, for me, and for a lot of people I've trained, that sounds like magic. So, what we're going to look into here is how can you start creating the life on your terms, as if by magic. In other words, that even if you didn't believe it was possible, you could create it. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Well, stick with me, because I can guarantee you right now, because you, just like I used to be, and a lot of my clients used to be, think that it's impossible. And there's a lot of times I still believe things are impossible, yet I still create results beyond my comprehension. So I want to give you the first secret of magic here. It's the first secret of magic to your high performance. And that first secret of magic is that your focus creates your reality. You see, what you focus on is what you're going to create. And if you come to our free 3-hour talk, we will demonstrate an exercise where it will show you beyond any means, beyond any doubts that you might have, that what you focus on is what you will create. Now, I'm sure you've heard this in a lot of ways. Where your attention goes, energy flows, and there's a lot of other ways that we can look at this. So, if what I'm telling you is what you focus on is what you're going to create, tell me, when you step into creating something, when you step into creating the success in your life, when you step into creating a relationship, or a new business, or a new career, or your health, or your wealth, or whatever area of your life it is, what's the first thing that your mind looks for? Your mind sets to find out the obstacles. It finds out and seeks out why it could go wrong and why it can't work and what you are lacking. So if your focus creates your reality, and automatically our mind is to going on the right way, but number one, how could you know the right way if you've never done it before? Or it's going why it can't work, or what's the obstacles going to be, and your focus creates your reality. What are you going to start creating more of in your life? So the structure of your genius is your imagination, your creativity, and your intuition. So the work that I'm sharing with you here is all based on alchemy, and that's transmuting from lead into gold. From your current circumstances, the lead, the diamond in the rough, to the end result, the gold, the diamond, the polished diamond that you're looking for. So the philosopher's stone, the alchemists always talk about the philosopher's stone, and that is your imagination. You see, by default, us as humans, we operate from our ego, from what we call in our training, our identity, your identity. And your identity has one prime objective, and that is to ensure your safety, your security, and your survival. So whenever we step in and we start moving towards what we would love, to start moving towards the end results that we're trying to attain, the new business, the new career, the health, the wealth, the relationships, whatever it is, automatically your identity is going to take over and hijack your imagination and your focus to imagine the worst case scenario. So if you're imagining the worst case scenario, and that is the philosopher's stone, by the way, the imagination, and your focus has been hijacked by that safety, security, survival, what are you going to focus on? You're going to focus on your worst case scenario. You're going to focus on why it's not going to work. You're going to focus on all the obstacles that you're going to face. Now that is the primary job of your identity. But you see, we don't use it to our full potential. And this we'll look into in video 2. And how do you use your identity? You see, the primary focus of your identity, once again, is to ensure that safety, security, and survival by keeping you in your known world. So whenever we start stepping out into an unknown future, and to stepping out to creating an unknown future, your identity is going to kick in, because its job is to ensure that you stay in your safety, security, and survival, to stay in your known world. Now, if we don't know what's going on here, and this perception is hijacking our reality, we're going to keep pulling in feedback to prove that reality to be true. So the objective here is to get a crystal clear intention and end result of what it is that you would love to create. Because if you have a crystal clear intention and an end result of what it is that you would love to create, and by the way, I don't mean being happy, because what is being happy? I don't mean being financial free, because what are you doing if you are financially free? If you had all that stuff, what would you be doing? You see, that's the true end result. What we're looking for is your true end result, your purpose, your true nature and your purpose. Because once you can get out of your own way, once you can step out of your identity and you can get out of your own way, then you can start focusing on that end result. And when you do, you're going to start creating an entirely new reality. Now, the best way I can describe this is, think about it. Remember that one time you were in love, first time you fell in love? What happened there? You fell in love, you felt the love, all you were focused on was the love, you had the same debts, you had the same problems, you had the same family that pissed you off day in and day out, you had the same crummy boss or the same crummy clients. All your life was exactly the same. But because you were so in love and you were focused on love, those problems weren't problems, were they? But then you found out that your partner was cheating on you, or you broke up with your partner. And what happened? All you could think about was the betrayal. All your focus was on the betrayal, and that you're not good enough, and that you're not worthy, or you're not in control, or you can't trust somebody. And because you were focused on that, all these problems that you had originally that weren't problems when you were in love now are fundamentally the biggest problems that you can face in your life. And it's almost as if problem after problem after problem after problem just keeps piling up. Now, do you know that when you set out to solve a problem, you very oddly and very strangely fall back into the same neurological pathway that created the problem in the first place? So what am I telling you? By setting out to solve a problem, by setting out to ensure your safety, security, and survival, you're going to fall back into the same neurological pathway that created the problem in the first place. In other words, you're going to recreate that problem because you focused on the problem. So what is the solution here? Is to become solution-based, is to learn to focus on the solutions. Now think about that for a second. Einstein even said, you can't solve a problem with the same level of consciousness that created the problem in the first place. So, having that said, how do you change your consciousness to get out of the problem? You need to become solution orientated. But once again, we've got a little problem here. We've got a little birdie that sits on our shoulder, which is called your identity, which his job is to ensure your safety, security, and survival. Now, I know I keep hammering on that safety, security, and survival, but it's crucial to understand this. Because if we're not playing in our imagination, our creativity, and our intuition, we're not playing in an unknown world, we're never going to create unknown results. We're never going to create anything new. But every time we step out to create something new, there's a little thing called tension that pops up. And this is one of our premises that we use in our training, is that tension seeks resolution. So if you imagine I'm holding an elastic band here and I'm stretching it, what is it seeking to do? It's seeking to resolve itself back to its original form. Us as humans, we despise tension. Whenever we are in tension, unconsciously we do everything in our power to resolve that tension. In other words, whenever we set out to create something new and that creates a lot of tension for us, unconsciously what we're seeking to do is resolve that tension and resolve back to our original form. But you see, as a genius, your job is to learn to use that tension. And we haven't been taught to use that tension effectively, because all that tension is energy. And we need that energy. But we always resolve that energy in favor of our current reality, in favor of our known world. This is why we always land up with the same kind of boss, the same kind of partner, with the same amount of money in our bank account, no matter what we do. Because we are creatures of habit and we are stuck in our known world. And every time we start stepping outside of that known world, your tension is going to kick in to resolve back to that known world. So if you don't have an awareness of what your tension is saying to you, you'll never be able to use that tension, and you'll always self-sabotage yourself through that tension. So that's, we're going to be stepping into video 2 of the G.A.S Genius System to Fueling a Life on Your Terms. And video number 2, we're going to look into your awareness and why does your tension resolve the way it does? And how do you resolve your tension? And how can you start using that effectively? Because remember, the first secret of magic is that your focus creates your reality. And if you can't use your focus effectively, and every time you start stepping out into the unknown world, your tension hijacks your focus and you're unconscious to that, and you don't know what your consciousness, your awareness is saying to you, what your thoughts and feelings are saying to you, you're going to fall back into the same neurological pathway that created the problem in the first place. In other words, you're going to keep sabotaging yourself. So this is probably every single one of these steps are highly fundamental to understanding how to create a life on your terms. So secret number one is your focus creates your reality. And the G in the G.A.S genius system is your genius. So it's about igniting your genius. And secondly, what we're going to look into video 2 is how do you have the awareness that you can stop being hijacked by your identity so that you can stay in your genius. Looking forward to the next session. I hope you enjoyed this session. I'm sure you got thoroughly served by this, and we will be going deeper in video 2. Looking forward to it, and keep an eye out for the emails. Ciao, genius.